From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And I hope you're feeling the same. And I got my man. You already know what it is. It's Wednesday, and I got the man himself, Mike Abadir, in the house. So let's go ahead and give a round of applause to Mike.
What is up, my man?
What's going on? Eddie's right.
I'm slouching a little bit. My back is like I can't even walk or nothing, man. So I'm kind of like slouched over in the chair, like a cripple right now. But hey, I'm still gonna bring it. Maybe a little bit drugged up and loopy a little bit, but we'll have a good time.
Lieutenant Dan.
Let's do this here. All right, now we're kind of at the same level here.
So what's up, brother? How's everything been?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Same here, just a week away from California, Houston, Vegas. Now I'm back home.
This summer is really like a kind of almost like a golden resurgence for boxing.
Yeah, it is. Because they've all figured out that they have to fight each other. If they really want to make some money, if they really want to keep people's attention, they have to fight each other. And
if they just don't want the sport overall to fade away.
Right.
To get swallowed up by other fight sports.
Right. But you know what? Boxing is always going to set the precedent to me all the time. UFC is to me, I know everybody loves UFC, and I respect it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. You know what I mean? Because
I'm not either.
I used to watch it back in the day before Dana White and the Fertitti brothers bought it and improved it and made it look somewhat feasible. But I'm talking about when Ken Shamrock fought Gracie on pay-per-view. Somebody might die tonight. That's what I'm talking about, Mike.
Yeah.
Remember that the first one they had? Somebody may die tonight. We got 8 different fighters and 8 different fight styles. Will the boxer win? You know what I mean? When it used to be literally human cockfighting. You know what I mean? And
it was like the Bush Leagues.
Right. And then guys coming out with diapers, all that stuff just to fight each other. I just wasn't with that. Like, did they go get these 2 guys from Chippendales or something? You know what I mean? And I used to just really not like it at all. But Dana and them, they've improved it. They found themselves to have some stars in it as well, too. So, everything works out very well for UFC. You know what I mean? Everything works out well for UFC. And pretty much that's what it is, at the end of the day. So, but I feel like boxing has always been the big fight. It's like horse racing. Horse racing is another sport that you don't want to see fade away or, people not talk about it as much. But horse racing only gets maybe 4 looks a year, the Triple Crown and the Breeders' Cup. But it always brings out the best of everybody. Boxing, when there's a big fight, a big star fighting, everybody's going to come out. Everybody's going to enjoy it. Everybody's going to have an opinion. I know what you mean, though, Mike, where you don't have these big super matches, where you don't have this match that's going to be like, we're going to show this fight on Classic ESPN Classic 20 years from now. You don't have those fights anymore, but we can get back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also it kind of bothers me a little bit that some of the biggest names that draw people, it's usually exhibition fights. They're not even like real count on your stats kind of fights, and until there's a meaningful fight between 2 superstars, boxing is just going to be kind of hanging on a thread. That's my opinion, and I hope that changes because I love boxing.
I love it. I love boxing, and I love the fights that happened last weekend when I was in Houston. Charlo got a little challenged a little bit. He didn't get challenged, but he had to fight. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those walks in the park where you knock somebody out. A lot of people are now questioning him, his skill level and everything like that. But the guy that impressed me the most, a guy that I spent a lot of time with before his fight and everything like that, Isaac the Pitbull Cruz. They call him the Mexican Mike Tyson. And the guy he's a great guy out of the ring, and he's a monster inside of the ring. He even came out with a pit bull mask for the fight. And it was so funny because he looked really like a pit bull when he walked out.
That's probably a throwback to. Have you ever watched like the Mexican wrestling? Mm-hmm. Like their version of WWF. They were some. What's that? Yeah, they wear some crazy ass costumes, and it's much more theatrical. It's definitely entertaining, man. So he was maybe cut from that cloth a little bit.
Right. And he just went in there. He was a monster. He went in there, pummeled a former champion. He's going to have his opportunity at the IBF belt next time out. It should be a main event for him as well, too. It was beautiful being around him and the team. It was a lot of fun. We were walking around downtown Houston, going and getting stuff from stores. It was real fun, man. So, these boxers, a lot of them are good souls. And people have to understand, boxers are just like the jockeys at Santa Anita. That a lot of people really don't know who they are, in a sense, unless they're on ESPN or something of that nature. But they can walk around places and not be bothered. But then when they see him perform, that's when everybody's, oh, let me get an autograph. Let me get a picture. Let me do this. Let me do that. You know what I mean? So that's what I noticed about boxers. But if you're a low-rung boxer, up and coming, new guy on this block, 21, 22, trying to get your wins in, you'll be walking down the street all by yourself. Nobody even know who you are. You're just a regular person. They won't even be like, you were in a boxing match? I saw a few guys after the fight who were in the early fight, so they're walking down the street. Yeah. Hey, my coach is in there, Pop. I'll be back. I'm just like, I don't know who you are. I guess I met you yesterday.
It's kind of in an interesting way, kind of the best of all worlds, because I've always said I would not want to be a recognizable person to everyone walking down the street. Like, you can't go to a restaurant and eat quietly. You can't walk down the street and not be bothered. That's kind of not something I've ever aspired to and not interested in, but I'm sure that these boxers that you're talking about, when they're asked for their autograph during those limited time periods, they're probably okay with it. That kind of comes with the territory. And like you said, they're not known or harassed when they're walking in the streets. So it's kind of a nice blend of both.
I totally understand. And I'm totally with that, Mikey. Pretty much it's fun, man. Boxing's a beautiful sport. I know it's back, and I know it's back on the rise because, like you just said, they're getting the better fights in. The exhibition fights are helpful because it makes people respect the game a little bit more. It makes people respect the game again because you got these who people feel are goofballs, but they're taking it serious too. You know what I mean? I've talked to Jake, Logan, both of them. And these guys, they're taking boxing just as serious as a regular boxer. They're not coming in here, it's for YouTube, dude. But there are some of them are doing that. The YouTube guys,
Yeah, but at some point, I want to see a good, non-exhibition between two guys who's going to count for stats.
3. Wilder Fury 3, and then next month we got Pacquiao Spence. The supposedly the passing of the guard, but I don't see us passing the guard to Errol Spence. No offense, but he's not ready for that type of mantra. You won't even fight Bud Crawford. So, maybe you could just opt out with Manny. You know what I mean?
I remember when, my dad was really into tennis. He loved tennis. Him and his buddies loved tennis for some reason. It's a cool sport. I shouldn't say for some reason. So he kind of got me into it. And I remember I ended up playing on the junior Davis Cup team. And there were rankings. And there were rankings amongst the team members. And if you want to move up rankings, you have to challenge the people that are above you. And if the person above you declines, you lose your ranking. And I think it's probably time for boxing to implement something like that. You can't dodge the right fights. That's my take on it.
You're right. You can't dodge it. You got to do it. That's why we got a documentary called Four Kings right now. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. If you're still talking about Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler and Tommy the Hitman Hearns, the game hasn't evolved at all. It hasn't moved forward. You know what I mean? If you're still worried about documentaries on Tyson, the story you've already heard a million times, is the story's not going to change, Mike. ABC comes out, oh yeah, we got Tyson and the documentary. We watched that in 1995 on HBO when they did the docu movie with our man with our, I'm trying to think of his name right now, but I Black Dynamite, but that's what he was in, Black Dynamite. But pretty much that's my whole point. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're moving along in the game. And I feel like I'm a big fan of his as well too, Floyd Mayweather. I feel like he kind of put the game on a stop motion. You know what I mean? Because it became all about him and no other boxers. At least Oscar De La Hoya had Sugar Shane Mosley. He even had Julio Cesar Chavez as the golden one to beat down for him to get his spot. You know what I mean? He had things that he had to make accomplishments on the way to being Oscar De La Hoya, the pay-per-view king. You know what I mean? A lot of these, Floyd had to do the same exact thing, but these really great boxers nowadays feel entitled to it just because who they are, and just because some great boxers said that they're good at what they do.
Well, and you know, I liked when there was so and so versus so and so number 2, and then number 3. You know, and I don't know if Floyd Mayweather necessarily had any like big time rivalries like that.
Right. So pretty much my thing is like this. It's going to be now or never in boxing, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And pretty much in the boxing game, they got to have a great summer because, you know, a lot of things equate on pay-per-view, things of that nature. So you have to make sure everything's in place. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day, Mike. It's going to be awesome. And hopefully we'll all be at Wilder Fury 3 together. We'll definitely be at the Pac-Man fight. That's the most definite. But, you know, Wilder Fury 3, that's going to be epic. I'm telling you right
absolutely.
now. That's the biggest heavyweight rivalry that we had in the last 20 years. You know, it's in the lineage of, you know, Joe Louis and Max Baer, you know, the lineage of Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Even
you rate it at that level?
Yeah, because it's their third fight and they really don't like each other and they've been able to sell. But you know what? We live in a world where people's attention goes everywhere. But if it was 1962, this would be everything right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there would, I understand what you're saying. It's not at that level right now because most people, if you walk down the street,
have their own that they focused on. You know,
right now, if you walk down the street and ask somebody, you know, hey, what do you think of the next Tyson Fury fight? They'd be like, who? You know, even amongst fans. I mean, not everybody knows these names that we're talking about. So a little bit different, you know, I guess, can you compare it maybe with the 90s, Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield and that caliber of boxer?
It's somewhat in that realm. You know what I mean? But I know what you mean. I'm kind of jumping ahead of the gun, but in the sports Twitter world of things, it is on that Joe Louis, Max Baer level, but Twitter doesn't have say, supposedly. But ask ESPN that, though. ESPN literally takes all their news off of Twitter now.
Yeah.
Like, on Twitter, they're going crazy. Like, dude, half of Twitter is trolls, dog, that most people have never played the game or anything that they're talking about. They've just been watching it on TV their whole life. Just like I heard somebody say last night when Paul George missed the free throws. He gets paid $30 million a year and he missed 2 free throws. I said, I'm going to put your ass on the line next to see if you can make 2 free throws. In this. Come on, Mike. We've seen people sit up there at these college football, throw the ball in the hole. You're 10 yards away and you can't even get it to the hole. I could do that easily, probably from 30 yards away. I promise you that, Mike. I promise you.
I believe it.
Nobody knows that Pop used to play quarterback as a kid. I was a big guy, but now they want to have big guys play quarterback. Now they let big guys play quarterback. but I used to force my way in at the quarterback position. Like, I'm taking over because I'm over here trying to be Bernie Kosar in the clutch and all that stuff. I'm over here. I'm literally trying to throw the same arm motion, all that stuff. He was my favorite quarterback growing up as a kid.
A little sidearm action, huh?
Yeah, a little sidearm action. Try to get the overhead, even do the limp.
Perfect imitation, then.
You already know,
awesome.
Mike. All right, man. Let's get into the topics, man. We was not supposed to start the show off with boxing, but
but it started that way, and let's keep rolling.
Yeah, no, but that was a great topic. I spent my week dealing with boxing, pretty much last week dealing with boxing, so that's great. All right, let's jump into it. Last night, bro, let me just start off with this. I'm not going to say how much money I put on it, but it's not a big deal because we hustle, we make money every day, Mike. But this was one of the baddest beats I've ever seen in person because I'm sitting in the Flamingo Sportsbook. Clippers come all the way back, Mike. Paul George gets fouled. You know, we're comfortable. We're good. Paul's going to make these free throws. We'll be fine. He goes ahead and does a Palmdale move. He blows both of them. So we're like, all right, the Clippers play a little bit of defensive point. Yeah, 8, you know. Suns messed up their possession. Refs have the longest 37 seconds in basketball last night. Then we inbound the ball, and none of us see it coming. But DeAndre Ayton, over the top, easy bucket, Suns win. Irony. You should have saw me and all the other Clipper backers. We're ready to go walk to the window. Even the tellers were getting excited, like, "Ooh, we about to get tipped out." And then boom, that happens. And guess what? All the people that was rooting for the Suns, they were just people watching the game in the book. They walked off. Irony, Mike. Irony.
Yep.
Mike. Irony.
The alley-oop, man.
Right. That's not even being nipped at the wire, Mike.
No.
Seriously. The second baddest beat I had other than that was Songbird losing to Beholder. And I still contest that race. To this day. I just thought they gave Richard Mandel a lot of love there. That's all that was. Because Songbird would beat Beholder on any other day. But that day was something different. But what are your thoughts on the game, Mike?
Clippers are in trouble.
Again?
Right? That was a game that they had to win.
Again?
Now they've kind of made a habit of it this postseason, right?
Right.
It was a close game. You know, even if you look at the quarterly breakdown, it was within a basket just about every quarter, I believe. So it's a very tightly contested game. The Clippers stayed in the game because of the three-point shooting. The Suns were terrible from the three-point line, man. And by and large, the Clippers were pretty good on the free throw line. Well, they were decent, 75%. Statistically speaking, there wasn't a lot of differential except for this. The key to the game was the points in the paint, Pop. The Suns had 60 points in the paint to the Clippers 30. That's the difference, man. They're able to pound it in. I repeat, 60 points in the paint for the Phoenix Suns, 30 points in the paint for the LA Clippers. How can the Clippers make their number go up and defend to make the Suns' number go down? Especially because they would have won since the Suns were off with their three-point shooting.
Man, Mike, I'm telling you right now, 2 words for you. And they always mess with me because they say he's so in love with the big man. But the big man has been the biggest key to every NBA championship literally ever. DeAndre Ayton, the X factor for the Suns. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Booker and Paul would have never went this far without DeAndre Ayton. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. DeAndre Ayton is a double-double machine. He runs like a gazelle. He can shoot from the outside as well, too. He is very worthy of the number one pick in the draft. He might be one of the most overlooked number one picks in the draft because when he got to Phoenix, Phoenix was terrible. And everybody was like, well, Phoenix is just going to keep being terrible. But you bring in Chris Paul, who has leadership and he knows how to use a big man. He's used DeAndre Ayton to really be the spark plug in a sense for this. Booker's going to get his points, Mike. You know what I mean? But at last night, there was moments where you saw a Shaq and Kobe combination with Devin and DeAndre. And that DeAndre has to push this thing so Devin can be open. You know what I mean? So, but the thing was, he was getting single covered all night. And he was picking up, and literally every time he jumped up, it was his rebound. DeAndre Ayton is the key to everything for this team. And if something happens to him, I don't see them going much further. But they'll be fine. I think that he gives them probably their best shot at the ring right now. In my opinion. I know everybody's like Chris Paul, but Cameron Payne's playing good basketball as well too. And they still won last night. Honestly, if Chris Paul was making that much of a difference, they would have lost the first two games or it would have been a split, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Chris Paul is making a big difference. He's being a great leader. He's an extra coach. But DeAndre Ayton is the one pushing the engine, though, in my opinion. Thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with everything that you said, man. It is about the big man. That's a kind of a forgotten position. It's kind of like the running back in football. You still need a running game to win. It's a passing league, but you need a running game to win. Right? The Chiefs could have used a little bit of that in the Super Bowl. Right? They had no run game. They had no run blocking.
Right.
So sometimes you got to go to the bread and butter old school and realize that it really is an old school. It's just as relevant as it's ever been, man.
Right.
The big man gets you there. It's the best secret weapon out there.
The big man will get you home. Trust and believe in the big man, Mike. Once again, trust and believe in your big man. That's why I said that James Wiseman will be a bigger difference to the future of the Warriors. Not right now with Curry and Draymond and all these. Those will be his veterans. But the Warriors got 2 picks last night in the top 14 in the lottery. They got to start thinking about building around Wiseman and whoever else is coming because they got a lot of money on that cap. You know what I mean? And I really do feel like there's somebody out there that's going to get Klay Thompson this summer from the Warriors. Because when you think about it, if I was the general manager of the Warriors, I'm looking at Klay Thompson like, you got 2 knee injuries 2 years in a row. I know he can shoot. I know he can do all these great things. But right now, you're probably just going to be a guy that's going to be in the NBA for the next 5 years. That's just going to be feasible. You're not going to be a superstar anymore. You're too hurt. Needs a shot. You'll be a great shooter. We'll be able to play you 22 minutes out the deal. But I don't want all that money on my cap. So who's down there in LA? Or who's down over here in New York right now? Who got another pick that I can go ahead and try to snatch up? When you got some assets on your side, I think it's okay. The writing was on the wall when the Warriors lost to the Grizzlies, in my opinion, Mike. I think they've ran their course. I think Steph Curry may be on the go because he's so much of a star now. It's hard to just be a star in Oakland, of all places, Mike. But me and you both love Oakland. We know this, though. But if you want to be a superstar, New York, Chicago, LA is a little bit more attractive for you. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Those are the big main hubs for the NBA for sure.
Right.
I'd say maybe the Sixers also.
Right. You go play with your brother. But I would say this. Ben Simmons struggling in Philly, right? Why don't you bring him to Golden State? Put him with Wiseman. Give him a new start. Wiseman is going to be just like Embiid in a sense. That would be a lot of fun for the Sixers. The Sixers can make a good move with that as well, too. So you never know. But let's go ahead, move on to our next topic in hand because it's about the draft as well, too. As you can see, the Pistons land a top pick in the draft. Cade Cunningham favored to be their guy, but is he the best prospect? Cade Cunningham said he's going to talk to one team, the Detroit Pistons. So Lonzo Ball has set a new precedent where I'm going to talk to one team and one team only, and you guys are just going to deal with it, okay? Even though you're the one drafting me. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Detroit might not be the spot for Cade Cunningham, but Detroit needs something. And Detroit, from what I'm hearing, are thinking about maybe moving the first pick in the draft as well, too. Thinking about another veteran to go with the already really two good rookies that they had in place, and with Harvey's son, Harvey Grant's son, Jeremy Grant. So your thoughts on that?
Because of the situation that Detroit is in, I would trade that first pick and go with Evan Mobley. Trade it to a team that will definitely select Cunningham so that Evan Mobley is available and take him. That's what I would do if I'm the Detroit Pistons. Now, Cunningham's probably a can't-miss prospect. His only knock is that he's 19 years old. So he's really young. But, I mean, the sports pedigree of this guy is crazy good. His pops, Keith Cunningham, was the quarterback at Texas Tech. His brother, his older brother, played basketball at SMU. He was a football, Cade himself was a football and basketball prospect. He was a quarterback. So he's got some of that leadership, the leadership skills. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I thought there was a drop off there. So Cunningham's pretty good, man. I think his biggest issue, his biggest obstacle is that he's 19 years old, and who knows how that development will work out. How long will it take? And what will we get afterwards? What kind of polished product are we going to get afterwards? That would be my main concern. But that's pretty much my game plan for the Pistons.
Well, the Pistons, to me, they're going to be great if they go ahead and do that. But all in all, I think that Houston won this thing because Houston, without a doubt, is going to get Evan Mobley. Because I know that they favor him as the best player in the draft right now, Mike. And I have to say to myself, hey, it has to happen, Mike. You know what I mean? It's going to be great for Houston. Houston can have a resurgence. You saw who was their guy last night. The greatest Rocket of all, Hakeem Olajuwon, was there last night. And so that's a guy who will be working with Evan Mobley as he gets on in his career as well, too. I think that the Cavs and Raptors just were kind of there. They're going to go get those G League guys that were there. And then you got Orlando, who I thought was going to be in the top three, that get 2 picks in the first round, and they got something that they can actually build on, Mike. They really do. But all in all, we'll see how it goes. The NBA draft, a lot of these guys are exactly the same to me. They keep saying, oh, he's a generational talent. I don't believe that, Mike. I really don't. You know what I mean? I believe that a lot of these players are really good. They'll be able to play really well wherever they fit at. If it's not the fit, it's not gonna work out. You know what I mean? It's that simple, Mike. That's what it's all about, fits. No, there's only one guy in the last 20 years, in my opinion, that's a generational talent. His name is LeBron James. When you come in the game playing like LeBron, we'll talk. But when you're struggling in your rookie year, you're trying to get it, and the coach keeps babysitting you and all this stuff, you ain't a generational talent. You're just another guy in the NBA. It'll come eventually. We'll see some things eventually. But there's so many good guys in the NBA. But there's just a couple of great guys in the NBA. It's clubs in the NBA. There's guys that are going to be in the NBA for a few years, maybe a few months. There's guys that is going to have 5 to 10 year careers. They'll be decent. Then there's guys that have 10, 15 years careers. And then you have the guys who are just giants. If they snap their leg in their 9th year and they got to retire, they're still going to go to the Hall of Fame. We're still going to have memories about them. It works out like that. You know what I mean? So we got to stop throwing the word generational talent out there as if every one of these guys are going to be able to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, that's been the biggest problem in sports for the last 50 years. Seriously. I know you want to sell tickets. I know you want to sell hype. But stop playing the people. That's all I ask. That's all I ask, Mike. That's all I ask. You see the NFL.
I agree.
You see the NFL, Mike. You've been in the NFL. You've been an agent in the NFL for years. And you know in the top 10, there's always a guy who's like, what the hell was he doing in the top 10? Well, because the scouting department was in love with him. He had a good interview. We did a background check, and he was raised by wolves, so we got to draft him. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm thinking about it. But let's go ahead and take a commercial real quick. Get into baseball because this is going to be a fun topic that we talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about the new policing in the MLB. And I'm going to get your opinion on it because I got a real rant about this thing. Okay.
All right. Looking forward to it.
You guys already know. Check out HatClub.com. If you guys love Mike a lot, love Mike's show, you guys go ahead and get Mike a Boston Red Sox hat, maybe a yellow, maybe a pink one, so he can go rock it down at Del Mar, so he can be within the groove of the beach. And, you know, pretty much it is what it is. Or you guys can go ahead and get yourself a nice little hat as well, too. And for every $50 order or better, you'll get a 10% discount on that order. Okay, so check out HatClub.com. Absolutely the best in the game. And we'll be back. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
Why they came back so quick? Oh. All right, man. See how it is, Mike, when you get back from a trip and it's early morning and you just want to do your show, kick it, do other things, you know what I mean? And everybody wants to hit you up. Where were y'all at yesterday? You know, Mike? You're an agent, Mike. You can relate, man. And it's not like your business, it's the personal stuff. Oh, you back now?
I hear you, brother.
I'm back. You know what I mean? But that's for another conversation. That's a Cerveza conversation at Del Mar later on this summer. Or Los Alamitos next week. Remember we talked about that. Me and Mike go live for you guys real quick and be like, we're sitting right here in front of the horse Paducah section of Los Alamitos. Oh, that's the only reason why I don't like Los Alamitos is because as soon as you walk in there, you get a high smell of that good old pooty poo, that horse poo. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, it's authentic.
I know. And see, Santa Anita, you smell roses and flowers and wow, Santa Anita. Then you get to Los Alamitos, it's like, damn, am I at the farm? But then you start seeing the rate. I'm gonna tell you like this. I think the fans at Los Alamitos are a little bit more intense than the fans at Santa Anita. Santa Anita fans get all excited about a favorite, like, yay, I got the favorite home. Let's go ahead and cash that ticket. But as Los Alamitos fan is over there going crazy about a 10-1, 12-1. Get down the lane. Get down the lane. You know, I've seen so many people clapping up for 1-9. I just get so pissed, Mike, like, you idiot. Stop clapping for the horse that was supposed to win. You know what I mean?
Home of the $1 pick four, by the way.
Huh?
Home of the $1 pick four, by the way.
Yes. And you know what? The $1 pick four is literally one of the best bets in all of racing because it's at most times in back east at 9 to 10 o'clock at night. So those people are addicted to horse racing.
But in addition, it's part of the daytime menu when the SoCal circuit comes to Los Al, which it's coming.
Right.
So if you want to play any pick fours for daytime, you know, all the Santa Anita horses and jockeys and trainers, you're going to be shifting to Los Al. And if you want to play a pick four, you got to be ready to pony up a buck. And I love it.
Right. But you have to be ready for, I think Flavian sits out Los Alamitos because he almost lost his life over there. I think Flavian's sitting that out because they don't have turf races. Flavian probably sit that out, and Berto will probably sit out. But I know JJ Hernandez will be there. Abel Cedillo will be there because they hustlers. You know what I mean? They're not divas like that. I'm not calling Flavian a diva, but he's earned the right to make his choice where he wants to go. You know what I mean? And if he wants to take a little 2-week break because it's Los Al, it's okay. But you'll see other guys like Cesar Alvarez and a couple. They got some more Espinosas out there as well too. I think Victor will be out there as well too, but Victor has not been riding well. Victor hasn't been right since his neck injury. Really, he hasn't. I think he should have retired, but he didn't. He chose not to, and he's still continuing. But I'm talking like this, and then Victor's going to win a big ass race and be a 45-1 on it as well too. And I'm going to be mad at myself for not taking it that day, but it is what it is, Mike. It is what it is.
Yeah, and you'll also see other veterans like Kent DeSormo and guys like that, and then some Los Al riders, you know, which are pretty talented in their own right, like Cesar Ortega. Mark my words, Los Al players, write down that name, Cesar Ortega. I guarantee you Cesar Ortega will win some of these sprint races at Los Al. After the meet, thank me then. You'll see that Cesar Ortega is going to win a lot of races at Los Al during the daytime.
Man, I believe it because he's already a good jockey, good hustler as is. And I think I would say this. If there was a future bets in Vegas for who would win that meet, I would say it'd either be my good friend Doug O'Neill or Steve Maietti. Because you won't see Richie Baltus and Peter Miller run a lot of horses in his because Peter Miller is the claimer king. You know what I mean? Seriously. And also trainer most don't talk about, Saldana. Great trainer off the claim. Saldana is a perfectly timed trainer that will claim a horse, and that horse will win going right back out. It doesn't matter what the odds are.
Yep.
He always does a great job with their horses. But let's get to this topic, Mike. It's fun to talk about. New MLB new rule is ridiculous for pitchers. Max Scherzer shows how he feels about it. All right, so I should be having a video up, but I don't. Max Scherzer went absolutely crazy last night when the umpire went out there. He opened up his belt. He took off his hat. He literally got naked out there on the field to show them that he wasn't cheating. And I'm gonna do my little 1-minute rant on this, Mike, and then you got the floor. As a guy that used to play pitcher as a kid, we don't feel like we have an advantage over the hitter. We feel the hitter has all the advantages. If I got a guy on second base behind me, he can steal a sign if he wants to. If you have, say, some tar or something on your bat that can make it stick and hit, you got that advantage as well too. Us as the pitchers, if you get a little sweaty or something like that, and it goes off on the ball, or you use a little bit of sunscreen, kind of using it to your advantage because you want to put some movement on the ball, right? And at the end of the day, to me, it's all fair game. Baseball has rules that run back from 100 years ago that are sacred. And I feel like you going and running up on the pitcher every inning to see if he has some substance going or anything like that is absolutely stupid. You should do this before the game and get it over with. You shouldn't be going inning by inning to do this. You know what I mean? Oh, he went in the dugout and got some extra tar on his hand. I understand because I remember seeing Al Leiter cheat during the game. He dude that literally had the substance on his hand. You know what I mean? But I didn't see it as cheating. You have to catch up with the pitch, right? Right, Mike? They can hit the ball out if you're a good hitter. You know what I mean? What's your thoughts, though, Mike? Mike give me that face like, Pop, I don't agree.
Well, because if you check them before the game, and I'm a pitcher, and I'm planning to cheat, I just go to the mound clean inning number 1. Inning number 2, I load up, and I'm ready to roll. So I've got a solution for this. Now, right now, it is legal to do one thing, which is touch your rosin bag. So I have a suggestion, Pop. Allow these guys to put their hand to their mouth. If you allow them to put their hand to their mouth, it'll solve the issue. Right?
Right.
Can't do that right now. Right. Let them get some saliva. Let them get some moisture to be able to grip the ball better. And guess what? The hitters, by and large, want them to be able to grip the ball better because they have better control over their pitches. Less likely to go straight to the head. Less likely to get pillared out there. So that's my solution. Let them go to the mouth.
All right. That's the solution. Let them go to the mouth. And just, we want the game to go as fast as possible. So all this stoppages, stop. Stop it. Maybe exactly. Put somebody in the dugout. Put the spy in the dugout. If they see anything funny, they can go ahead and be the snitch. You know, that'll work.
Just let them touch their mouths. Get it over with. They're already allowed to touch the rosin bag. Why not have MLB provide the rosin bags? And then you're all set. Right? They provide it for every pitcher. We know that it's the same advantage for everybody. Call it a day.
Right. Right. All right, Mike. So let's go ahead. I know you like Dodger lover, me and Gino, but it's Blue Crew Daily. And Blue Crew Daily, man, Dodgers last night came close to winning, but once again, they dropped the game last night because they started late and couldn't finish. Clay Kershaw gave up three runs, which wasn't bad, but then he didn't get any run support until later on in the game. Dodgers had the bases loaded and blew the opportunity to tie the game at that point as well, too. So they can't blame nobody but themselves. It's not on the pitcher in this situation. Mike, real quick, what are your thoughts? Because I want to get into these MLB games immediately.
Clayton wasn't as crisp as normal. I mean, overall, the stat line doesn't look bad. Snell ran into some trouble, but he outperformed Clayton. Blake Snell's had really rough time of it. But if you look at the stat breakdown, he's been terrible on the road, but he's actually been pretty good at home. So the Padres got what they needed. They've also been in a little bit of a slump. They've experienced some turbulence, and they knew that the ideal time to get back in business is against their division rival, the Dodgers. So, hey, man, this is like a 12-round fight, and we're not halfway through yet.
I got you. And we know it's almost July, Mike. It's almost July. I'm telling you right now, Dodgers boys of summer. But the Giants looked good last night. They got a lot of young talent on that team. And that's all management right there. That's all Bruce Bochy right there, in my opinion. He's doing a hell of a job. That's why that team won all those World Series years ago.
Let me correct you real fast. Gabe Kapler.
Kapler. Oh, my bad. Oh, Gabe Kapler. You know, Gabe Kapler was pretty good on the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Who else did he play for? Wasn't he a Met too?
Tigers, and he was on a few teams.
He was always a Red Sox, though. You know that. That was his best work came at. But my bad, Gabe Kapler. It's crazy to see so many guys that we watched in the MLB now becoming the actual manager of the team. Like Rocco Baldelli's a manager.
Yeah, I remember when he played for the Rays.
Right. And this is when the Rays were bad. And he was like their best player. Rocco Baldelli, that used to be Dick Vitale's favorite player. Rocco Baldelli. He's from East Jersey. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
you know?
fellow paisano.
He comes over to the house every Sunday for dinner. You know, but hey, it is what it is. Let's move on. First game I have up here, Rockies, Mariners. What do you think of this one? We got minus 115 on the Rockies. We got the Mariners minus 105 in this one. I think that this game actually favors the Mariners a little bit more, but I think that this is a scoreboard watch. Real quick, what are your thoughts, Mike?
This one is easy to me. The Rockies have played 32 games on the road. Guess how many they've won out of those? Five out of that large number. This is an easy one. Mariners are a good home team. They're 9 games above 500 at home. The Rockies, outside of Cruz, are not a force to be reckoned with. They are the team that other clubs pile up the wins against when they're playing at home and the Rockies are on the road. You want to welcome them to your home stadium. The Mariners are welcoming them tonight, and they will win this. I think 105 is an absolute gift.
So you guys got it. Mike says the Mariners win tonight, and they got Sheffield's kid on the mound too. All right, so let's move on to. Hey, this was crazy yesterday, Mike. I don't get the Clippers home, but I'm so silly. I put a pick 6 together yesterday. I put the Royals out as a plus 1.5, and I put the Pirates out as the dog of the day. Both of them won. Now, what if I just put a fun bet together in Vegas and said, let me get those 2 dogs on the 2-teamer real quick? It'd have been smooth. The same amount I put on the Clippers, it would have been much better. Clippers, man, I'm telling you, man. Tyronn Lue, when I see you in the streets, it's on, brother. Just kidding. It wasn't his fault yesterday, but PG-13, yeah, you way off Pete. You was way off Pete last night. All right, so I like the Royals here, but I think the Yankees are going to terrorize them today, dude. They got to get that get back. They kind of were toying around with them yesterday. That's why they lost. So I really do like the Yankees today. I think that they're a spread and play. Your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I don't love this game. You know, I think it's a little bit tricky. The Yankees have Michael King going, and he's still looking for his first win.
Right.
And like you said, we're almost in July. The Royals, here's what I'll tell you about the Royals. When they get on a win streak, ride them. When they get on a losing streak, ride the losing streak. They're very streaky, very inconsistent ball club. The Yankees just haven't put it together yet. And they've had a nice run, you know, as of like 3 weeks ago. They've kind of leveled off a little bit. The problem for the Yankees is after Cole, there's a huge drop-off. So to me, this game is kind of a no-touch. But if I had to take a side, I'll go ahead and take Duffy and the Royals. Take that plus 145 to the bank. I think the 9.5 runs, I would challenge that. I could see this going to 11, 12, or 13 runs.
Just like last night. The game was a slow starter, but it got crazy in that game last night. It really did. Good win for the Royals last night as well, too. Because it was Garrett Cole Day. You know, Garrett Cole Day is the Yankees' equivalent of DeGrom Day. You know, but ain't nobody better than DeGrom right now. That boy is Dylan, Mike. Dylan. He reminds me a lot of Maddox in his prime. Maddox used to go out there and just crush too. Same way. But
Good analogy.
yeah, he reminds me so much of Maddox. Maddox would just go crush it, but Maddox had the Braves. It's different. He didn't have the bad news Bears, Mets as his teammates. You know,
Exactly.
what I mean? Seriously. You know, Pete Alonso, I've heard nothing about him this year. All right. Rays, Marlins. This is a bad on bad. What is your opinion on this one, Mike? I think the Marlins could have a chance here, but I don't know. The Marlins always let me down. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I think you're being maybe a little bit harsh or unfair to call this bad on bad. I mean, the Blue Jays are above 500
For now.
They've won 3 in a row. Vlad is a bona fide MVP candidate, and their run differential is plus 44 on the season, man, which is one of the better run differentials in the American League. This team has had some hard luck losses, but their offense is good enough that they're going to be in every game. I like the Blue Jays here.
Okay.
I think they're kind of a secret weapon for the bettors out there.
Right.
I think more often than not, if you play regularly and you take the Blue Jays, they're going to make you feel pretty good.
Well, we will see, Mike. We will see. I think this could be a scoreboard game too, to be honest with you.
I mean, look, each team has their best or one of their best pitchers on the bump. Trevor Rogers for Miami, and he's been terrific, man. 1.87 ERA. And Toronto, Robbie Ray. He's been pretty good, 3.5 ERA. The Blue Jays are a good road team because everything to them is on the road anyway.
Right.
And, I think they might be able to get to Rogers. This is going to be the best lineup Rogers has faced. Let's see what he could do.
All right. Let's see how it shakes out, brother. Let's move on. Now, you're going to get excited about this. Your Red Sox versus the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. But let me tell you something about the Devil Rays, Mike. That's the most exciting team in baseball. Those guys are so happy to play with each other. You know what I mean? There's no egos out there. But that's what happens when nobody's getting paid. You know what I mean? They just play baseball and loving the game of baseball. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch with the Rays. The Rays they're not a big budget team like the Dodgers and the Yankees and your Red Sox, the Cubbies. You know what I mean? No, they're bottom of the barrel. Like Billy Bean, like Brad Pitt said, Moneyball. There's dirt, and then there's what's up under the dirt. And that's what the Rays are when it comes to budget. You know what I mean? They're not going to trade for any superstars at the trade deadline. They're not going to do any of that. They're going to trust the process. Mike, what are your thoughts? This is a great series right here. And it was a great game last night. Red Sox were able to hold them off last night 9-5 after getting a 5-2 lead early and then giving up that lead and then winning the game by 4 runs. What are your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, great matchup. This is a great rivalry. Kind of quietly, it's become a really good rivalry. Now, the Tampa Rays have lost 7 in a row.
Okay.
This is their first time that they've experienced a slump, losing streak this year. They've been in first place most of the season. The Red Sox have now toppled them and have a 1.5 lead in that division. Very competitive division, obviously. And so this is the Red Sox opportunity, I don't want to say to bury the Rays, but to create some distance. So far, they're taking advantage of that. But the story of this series, Pop, is the call-up of Wander Franco. Wander Franco called up by the Rays yesterday. His first career game, boom, 3-run shot, boom, double. He had a first game for the ages. He actually met expectations. How about that? This guy is what you described in the last segment. The LeBron James, the guy that you can't hand the torch off to, the guy that is going to be great. That's Wander Franco. To me, this is the best prospect in baseball since Alex Rodriguez.
Understood.
So that's what this series is all about. Now, in terms of the actual pitching matchup, you got who you want if you're the Rays. When you're dealing with a 7-game losing streak, who better to have, Pop, than your old boy, Rich Hill, on the bump? Right? He could come in and be a stopper for them.
Richie's old, though, now, man. He was good with the Dodgers, but he's old now.
He's old now, but hey, he's 5-2.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a 3.64 ERA. He's done a nice job for the Rays. He's still crafty. And I hate to say it, but I think this is where the Rays losing streak stops. I would take the Rays tonight.
Okay, so you want to get your Red Sox. Got you. Red Sox Nation, I'm calling them after the show. You always supposed to be with Boston, Mikey. What's wrong with you, Mikey?
Hey, man. I'm here to help. I'm here to help the players make some money.
Thank you. We don't bet with our heart. We bet with our head. Always. No homers allowed. All right. A's, Rangers. What are you thinking? The A's got blasted in the first game. Then yesterday was another firefight. Today, I think that we're going to get some good pitching. And everybody's going to overbet the over and we'll wind up getting an under here. What are your thoughts, Mike?
The Rangers are amongst the worst teams in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The only team with a worse record than them in the American League are the Baltimore Orioles. The Rangers are ice cold. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 ball games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I will tell you is this. The Rangers are actually a pretty good team to play at home. They're actually creeping towards 500 at home. They're just abysmal on the road. They're 10-27 on the road. It's like one of the worst records in baseball outside of the Rockies, who I talked about earlier.
Right.
But so this game, though, is at home, and that's what makes it a little bit intriguing. With that said, the Oakland A's outclassed them. The A's are 15 games above 500. They would be in first place, but for an Astros 9-game winning streak. But the A's are still just 1 game back, even though their rival has won 9 in a row. I think that the A's class prevails against the Rangers here. They're going to win this series. It's just a matter of whether it's a sweep or not.
Gotcha. All right, well, good AL West game tonight, and we'll see how it shakes out. And we end with this one. Dodgers, Padres. I ain't have much left, dude. It was it's Wednesday. They're playing a lot of early games because a lot of teams are traveling today. What are your thoughts on Dodgers, Padres, the money part of the game tonight?
What a pitching matchup.
Right.
Trevor Bauer against Joe Musgrove. Musgrove already threw the first no-hitter in Padres history. His ERA is microscopic. But Trevor Bauer, here's my question for you, Pop. How does he have a 2.45 ERA on the loaded Dodgers and yet just have a 7-5 record? How is this dude not like 9-1? That's kind of what I'm not getting here.
Let me go ahead and tell you why.
Okay.
He suffers from Kershaw-itis. It's called you pitch a damn good game, but you ain't going to get no damn runs from this team. For some odd reason, they're just going to rely on you to just take care of everything. They got to score more runs when Trevor's on the mound. It's that simple. I think the highest game they had with Trevor on the mound scoring was like 6. Most times you see 2 to 3 runs, and that's it. He pitches great, but then the bullpen doesn't back him up. It's that simple. That's my thoughts.
Well, as it pertains to tonight, I expect a low-scoring game. I don't know about that 7.5 runs. It's probably going to be pretty tight.
Right.
But I think the winner of this game is going to win, 4-2, 3-2, somewhere in that ballpark vicinity. The Padres are a damn good home team, man. 27-14 at home. So they love themselves some home cooking. They love that Mexican food down in San Diego, man. And so this is their comfort zone. Look, man, this is a great rivalry. The interesting thing is this to me, Pop. I would have expected before the season started that these two teams are playing it out for first place. But what's really happening is the Dodgers are 3 games out. The Padres are 4.5 games out. And that's after the Padres have won 6 in a row. So they're finally getting hot, but nobody's catching up to the Giants right now. Dodgers losers of 2 in a row. I like betting on streaks. So I hate to go against your boys in blue. But the Padres have got to win, a 6th win in a row. They're going to make it 7 after tonight.
We'll see. We'll see, brother. We'll see. And with that, we're going to go ahead. We're going to be right back. We'll be back in a moment, but it's that time. It's going to be talking tickets, and we're going to get into the NBA preview tonight as well, too, Mikey. All right? So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and my main man, Mike Abadir, and we will be right back to you in a few moments.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The PrimeTimeAngles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's going on? It's the world of Pop DiBiase, and everybody else is just living in it. My vice president, Mike Abadir. You already know what it is. What's up, Mike? You already know what time it is, man.
Pick 6 time.
Pick 6 time. But first, let's talk about tonight. NBA. The NBA Eastern Conference Finals Game 1. The NBA Eastern Conference has turned into March Madness. Let's just keep it real, Mike. Nobody expected this at all. We weren't thinking Bucks Hawks, bro. We weren't. Now the Bucks did have opportunity, and all of us did say that, this could be the one team that beats the Nets, if not the Sixers. And they beat them without Kyrie. You know what I mean? Even though Durant had 2 of the greatest back-to-back games ever, Jordan didn't even do nothing like that. 47, 49. Jordan hit the Celtics with the 63, but they lost. So I think that you have to commend KD for that, but then you had to commend Giannis for now playing the underdog villain role. They were too nice, too happy the last 2 years, the Bucks, too entitled. Now they're right where they want to be at with a big opportunity to be the NBA champions. Right now they're 7-5 in Vegas to win the title. The Clippers were actually the favorite at even money. And since my father's very close to me right now, the Hawks are now at 7-1 and you have the Suns at 10-1. So I think that this is going to wind up being a 7-game series, Mike, and the winner will be pretty good in the finals. But I think if the Bucks win this one, if they win this series, I think by beating the Nets the way they did and beating the Heat, those are two very good teams that they beat before you got here. I think the Bucks have a good chance of winning the title, like I said on the show yesterday, because they've had 2 years of just misery where they were the number 1 seed and they couldn't get it done. Now they don't have all that pressure on them. Now Giannis isn't the MVP. Now they can just go ahead and win because they have the kid from Campbell Hall High School, Drew Holiday. Your thoughts on this game, Mike?
The Bucks are such a good home team, man. They're really tough to beat at home. 26-10. The Hawks, on the other hand, are not a very good road team. They're 18-20. They're under 500. Actually, excuse me, they're 16-20, under 500 by 4 games on the road. The Bucks really take care of business at home. This is going to be the game that sets the tempo for the series. I don't think the Bucks will let this get away. I think the Bucks are going to win this matchup by 12 points tonight. Let me ask you this, though, man. How bummed is the NBA going to be if it ends up being the Atlanta Hawks and the Phoenix Suns the finals? I mean, the NBA will be pulling their hairs out, man.
It'd be like the late 70s with a rare series out of that 70. Well, the 70s might have been the most parodied decade of NBA basketball. But it will remind me of when the Washington, but I wasn't alive for this, but I do read up on I've read about every NBA final ever. I would say that it will remind me of when the Baltimore Bullets played against the Seattle Supersonics, or when the Philadelphia, you know what I mean? Like, no, the Bullets and Sonics were decent, but they were a team that were benefits of the draft and things of that nature. You had some off years by the Lakers and Celtics at that point, and it was a very wide open NBA at that time. So that's what it would remind me of. Or it would remind me of the last time the Hawks were actually in the finals when they were in St. Louis, of all places.
Yeah, it's kind of that time period that you're talking about, like Bill Walton and the Portland Trail Blazers.
And the Sixers.
Yeah, you have some obscure kind of cities and markets and stuff like that. Yeah. I think if it ends up being Atlanta and Phoenix, I don't think that's going to be a very well-watched series, in my opinion. I don't think that grabs like national attention. I think that the casual fans, maybe if they turn on ESPN or whoever's showing the game, tunes in, maybe find out the score, checks in a couple times, but I don't think this is a glued to your TV set type of finals, almost whichever way it lands, but especially if it's the Hawks and the Suns. But tonight, Milwaukee Bucks by 12, they're going to show the Hawks that they are the team with playoff experience, like you talked about. Keep in mind, the Bulls got bounced several times before they finally were able to get over the hump and become world champions. I could see the Bucks doing the exact same thing, man.
But no dynasty, though. No dynasty.
No dynasty.
No dynasty, yo. All right, let's get into the pick six. I'm going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy the game tonight. Pick six, under 8.5. Rockies Mariners tonight. We're going to get some pitching here. We'll see how it goes, Mike. Well, I'm taking the under 8.5 here, Rockies Mariners, because both these teams can't hit. Well, they can hit, but they don't hit well. Then I'm going to take the Yankees, -1.5. Then I'm going to rock with you and take the Rays tonight at -140. Then I'm taking +1.5 on the Marlins. So, Mike, you get the win by 1. I get the spread. How about that?
Works for me.
And then we have the under 9 with the A's and the Rangers tonight. And then I'm going to go with the Dodgers at -110 tonight. That's my pick 6, 40-1. What are your thoughts on that?
Single what you like, man.
Single what you like, baby. Single what you like.
Hey, man. 40-1. You know, you got some good teams in there. You got some good value in there, and you got some cushion in there. So you kind of have everything that you want in a parlay, and especially when you're talking about the odds. So I ain't going to talk anybody off of that, man, even though, you know, we're on the same page on a couple things and we're maybe a little bit different on a couple things. But overall, man, I think it's a nice wager. I think it's all going to hinge on that Dodgers-Padres game, which is going to be a very, very tightly contested contest. So you're either going to hit this parlay, the 40-1 parlay, by one run, or lose a huge payoff by one run. That's probably how it's going to shape out tonight.
So now, just you know how it goes, Mike. It's like a dad saying, "Either you just open that final race comes in."
Exactly right.
You open the 9 to 5 that you singled, kids are gonna come in.
Exactly right. Now, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
What I would do is this, since that's the last game of the night. So follow me on this one, people. Take Pop's play. And let's use easy numbers. Let's say that you're going to wager $100 on this parlay. Hypothetically. Instead of 100, go 50. Okay, Pop? Go 50 instead of 100. And play it exactly the way that Pop wrote it out right there. Then take the other 50 and do the exact same play, but in the very last game, go plus 1.5 on the Padres. You might be able to win both.
Yeah.
That's how tightly contested it's going to be. But now you've also effectively changed 6 teams?
Yeah, you go 6 teams, and then I think
you make it a 5-teamer.
Okay.
Right? By going both ways in the last game. Right. You hit the first 5, you're guaranteed to win one of the parlays. Maybe both.
Bang, bang, bang.
That's
bang.
like taking all in the last leg of your pick 6 at Santa Anita.
Yes. Yes.
You don't have to worry about it. You can just sit back and root for the longest shot.
The all bet, the almighty all bet.
There you go.
The best time to do it is the first and last race.
There you go.
Because you might not have it there if you get the second, third, and fourth. I'm telling you.
Yep.
All right. Tomorrow, you guys can listen to Mike's show at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Him and the man himself, Gino Picola. They'll be rocking out with some great topics. Who's your guest for tomorrow, Mike?
You know, I need to check my emails because send out a couple of invites and waiting to see who is going to be coming on board. I know I could always reach into the bullpen and go to my closer, the top dog himself, the guy I'm talking to right now.
Right.
So, Pop, always appreciate being on your show, brother.
Hey, and I always appreciate having you here. That's why we have you here every Wednesday. And that's why I make sure that when we do our show, my show is really only an hour long. But, you know, with Mike, it does not matter if we go a little bit over because, you know, we always talk some good stuff.
Love the conversations, man.
And literally, if they don't know, we pretty much mentioned almost every single sport that's major in America. We talked baseball, we talked basketball, we talked horse racing, we talked boxing. We even threw a little bit of football in there too. So
yeah, the only thing I'd like to maybe talk about next time is the UEFA, the European Championships of Soccer. I've been following that a little bit too, man. So you mentioned everything in America. I've expanded outside of America when it comes to the international soccer because there's some good matchups. In fact, tonight, this is a part of the Copa America series, but you have Brazil and Colombia tonight, man. 5 o'clock. Might be a good game to watch. I know that's going to conflict with the NBA conference finals, but if you got that second TV going, or if you could watch one of the games on your laptop or something in the background, that should be a fun game, man. Anytime you got those Brazilians playing, man, you know it's a party. It's like the Dominicans in baseball. It's a party.
Right. It's a party.
Absolutely. But
like
I digress. We do touch on every major American sport. That's what you get with the Primetime Angles Live.
Yes, sir. And you guys already know you guys can catch it on YouTube. You guys can catch it on Facebook. Might be off today because you started the show late. And you guys can catch it on YouTube. It's also on Twitch as well, too. So you guys are the absolute best. Me and Mike will be back at you next Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow, though, with the show. Maybe hopefully we can get Jeff Dawson in tomorrow to talk a little bit of NFL and everything like that. I'm going to start my little 32 teams in 32 days situation where I go through your schedule and really break down the 3 stars on your team and all that stuff. And we go from there, Mike. You know what I mean? I can't wait because the NFL got me excited this year. So it is what it is. It's the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. And if you have a hunch, bet a bunch. With that, the movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.